Welcome back. It's Ms. Carvius in my kitchen making Baby It's Cold Outside bean and kale soup. A soup that is great year round. And we're going to start right here with all of our fresh stuff and stuff out of our pantry. We're going to use fresh kale. We're going to use onion, a nice sweet onion. We're going to use garlic and a couple bay leaves, some celery, and then we're going to use some beans, which are the co-star of this, which we can use dehydrated beans or regular beans that come right out of a tin, and some broth. This is vegetable broth, but you can also use chicken or beef broth. But I'm making this especially for my vegan friends today. So join me as we make Baby It's Cold Outside bean and kale soup. All right, I'm gonna measure some beans. I'm gonna have about 2 cups of beans because I wanna rehydrate them so they're ready to use later today in my soup. So I'm gonna take these beans and I'm gonna pour them into some water, hot water, into a little saucepan, and I'm gonna make sure that the water is about 2 inches above the beans. I'm gonna let it come to a boil, and then once it comes to a boil, I'm gonna turn off the heat and I'm gonna cover with the top and let it sit for 1 hour. That'll rehydrate our beans and we'll be ready to cook. If you missed my segment on how to make simple smoothies and where we use kale, I'm going to show you again how we cut kale. So I have some curly kale and I have some Toscano dinosaur kale. And if you're working with kids, let them feel the kale because it looks and feels like what you imagine what dinosaur skin would feel like. Look at that. It's so cool. So texturally cool. Okay, so we're going to have a different textures of going on in our soup. We're going to have really nice soft beans, but we're going to also have some nice chewiness with this dinosaur kale and then some kind of rough curliness in it as well. So we're going to have to do 2 types of kale. If you have it, if not, one's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove the rib from the kale because it doesn't break down very well. You're going to turn the leaf upside down so it's like laying on its back. You're going to run your knife along the inside. So there you can see the little rib is right here, and we're going to remove it. And we're going to put it in the compost. And then for your kids, you can just tear it up. You don't even have to use it. I'm going to prep this, and then we'll come back. Okay, so kale is such a superfood, and it's so important for you to eat it because it has so many nutrients and vitamins that you might not even know about. It's very high in vitamin C. So you think all you need to fight diseases and sicknesses is orange juice. Well, you actually need kale because it's a very high source of vitamin C. It also has vitamin K, which is good for bone health. It's also good for your blood, so your blood can clot. So if you have an injury, it can clot. It also helps lower cholesterol for good heart health. Kale is very high in lutein, so it actually protects your eyesight. And it's also rich in beta carotene and has lots of antioxidants for your skin. That is one reason why we use various types of kale, and we use a ton of it in this soup. We're going to prep some celery. So I'm going to grab a stalk. You're going to need 2 for your soup, but I'm going to do 1. You're going to cut the top and the bottom off and put it in the compost. You're going to use the tip of your knife and you're going to slide it all the way down. I'm using a plastic knife because it's so much easier to use when you're trying to get beginners to sharpen their knife skills. So here we go. I'm just going to do this one because I already have some prep to the side. And voila, all done. We're going to prep our onion, and you want to make sure it's a sweet one so you're not crying through the process. So you're going to turn it on its side because we're going to make a flat surface. Put this in the compost, and we want to make sure that we keep the root intact because that's going to hold our onion together where we're cutting. So once you cut it in half, you're going to take the papery skin off just like this. I always tell the kid that you're getting your onions all naked. They laugh at that. Now, you have the half of your onion. You're going to make some vertical cuts across the top. So you're going to take your knife, go down. I say it kind of looks like a paw of an animal, like that. We call it the panther paw at school because we're the Panthers. You're going to hold your fingers together like this, lay it on top, and you're going to press down on the onion, and you're going to make a couple cuts straight across horizontally. Now it's going to look like checkerboard, which is going to make it easy for you to make a chop. Make sure you put your thumb behind your fingers, press down into the onion, go straight down, and you're going to have a nice chop. Once you get a little close to your fingers, lay it on its side and do the same thing. Turn it to the other side. We're going essentially around the root. And then this is the root. I'm going to put it into the compost bucket. Then I'm going to do a quick breakdown of these onions, and I'm going to put my hand on top, and I'm going to go around like I'm a pie, and I'm going to slide it together, and I'm going to go back the opposite way. So we're keeping it in this little triangle space because we want to bring the onions down so they're very small pieces of onion and not giant pieces, and we kind of want them all to be uniform. Okay, they look perfectly ready to go into the pot. This is your head of garlic, and if you remove some of its papery skin that's protecting it, underneath you will find a little family of garlic cloves, and this little family packs a punch when you are cooking. So you're going to take about 4. I've got 2 already prepped, and I'm going to take another 2, and I'm going to prep these. So kind of got to be brutal with garlic. You have to lay it on its side and smash it down to take off its papery skin covering, get it all naked, and we're going to do it just like we did the onions. I'm going to go to the end, and I'm going to slide that to the side really quickly, and I'm going to do another. And we're going to break it down the same exact way. And we're going to bring this down to a mince because you want all of the flavor, but you don't want big pieces of garlic ending up in your teeth. What do we have here? Ooh, our beans are nice and rehydrated and ready to go into our stock pot for some soup. I'm ready to get this soup started in this stock pot. So get your stock pot, make sure you're at medium heat to begin with, and you're gonna start with the in goes the. So let's get started because it's gonna go real fast. So in goes the olive oil. Make sure the olive oil has just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. That's it. You don't want to overdo it. Now, in goes your garlic, your onions, and your celery, which are your aromatics. So everything's going to start smelling good. And you're going to give it a quick stir. In goes the bay leaves. I got 3 nice sized ones right here. Followed by some kosher salt that you're going to put in liberally. And of course, if you have salt, you must have pepper. So we just added half of the kale, and we're going to let it cook down. Okay, so half of the kale is already reduced down. So I'm gonna put the other half in. And I'm gonna take just a second to season again. Salt and pepper. And I'm gonna stir it up until it reduces. I am going to pour about half of this box of vegetable broth in. And then I'm gonna add my beans. And I'm making a lot, so I did 2 cups of beans. And that's gonna be enough for 8 people. Okay, so here's the beans. Then I'm gonna add some hot sauce. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt, a tad bit more pepper, and I'm gonna add some Greek seasoning because my husband's family is Greek and we use Greek seasoning in everything. You can add cumin, you can add coriander if you want, or you can just do salt and pepper, it'll work. Okay, once it's going again, I'm gonna fill it back up, use the other half. And you're like, this really isn't a soup yet. No, because we're gonna use 2 boxes. So we have enough for my family and for my parents who are right down the street. I'm gonna make sure that the heat is up to high, and I'm gonna let it come almost to a boil, but to a simmer, and then I'm gonna let it cook down. Smells delicious. Let's take a taste. I'm gonna give it a nice swirl with my testing spoon, get a little broth. Perfectly seasoned. I don't have to add a thing. But if I wanted to, I could add something like this, which is a nice flavor enhancer like a bouillon. But this is a vegetable-based one because this is vegan. And so we can eat this any time of the week, especially on Meatless Mondays. So I'm gonna ladle up a bowl for myself and for you to see just how amazing this looks. There you have it. Baby, it's cold outside, bean and kale soup. And I'm gonna serve this up to my family tonight with some crusty ciabatta bread. I hope this soup recipe is gonna warm up your life. Have a great one and come back to the basics with Miss Carvius.